Hey everybody, thanks for watching. This is Andrew from Schnauzerface Minis, and today I've got one of my favorite Warmachine models. This is the Extreme Juggernaut from Khador. And I know you're probably expecting me to make a joke about this guy, but I'll tell you right now, it's Juggernaut gonna happen, okay? I'm Juggernaut gonna have a bunch of stupid puns in this video. It's Juggernaut funny anymore, and to be honest, it Jugger never was. I darken the base coat with turquoise ink. A complementary color can darken a hue without killing vibrancy the way that simply adding black can. And inks are very saturated, so they add a richness you don't always get by mixing paints. Also, I build up the base coat in multiple layers rather than trying to get complete coverage in one pass. While it's unlikely that I'd lose details from a thick coat while using the airbrush, it's still very easy for the paint to start spidering and pooling if I apply it too heavily. As always, I'm using a Harder & Steenbeck Infinity with a 0.15mm needle. I'm often asked for airbrush recommendations, and the answer is typically the same. It depends. It depends on your goals, your budget, your interest level. So while there's not a one-size-fits-all answer, I can recommend some principles to help guide your purchase. When researching airbrushes for myself, I focused on manufacturer reliability, versatility, ergonomics, engineering, and replacement part availability, so I'll run through each of those. First, I advise against buying a cheap starter airbrush with the intent to upgrade later. That ends up costing more in the long run, and there's not always an enormous price gap between the cheap airbrushes and the quality models anyway. In my experience, I've found that Harder & Steenbeck, Iwata, Badger, and Grex have the best reputations for quality control and customer service. I started with the Pache and I didn't exactly love it. And though I have no first-hand knowledge, the GW airbrush looks pretty terrible. While all airbrushes perform the same basic function, some do have some cool options or expandability. The Badger 360, for example, can be used as a gravity feed or siphon feed airbrush. Many manufacturers make airbrushes that fit multiple needle sizes in the same body, which allows for flexibility and growth. While this is a cool feature, I still suggest using the smallest needle possible at all times. Varnishes, primers, and metallics all spray just fine through my Infinity. And I recently painted a 2-foot-long dinosaur with a 0.15mm needle, and I never found myself wanting something bigger. So I really don't see a ton of benefits to larger needle sizes. I sometimes spend all day painting, so comfort is key. I found that Badger airbrushes tend to be heavier than Harder & Steenbeck, for example, but whether you like that added weight is entirely up to you. Grex makes a pistol-style trigger that some people really love, but I just can't wrap my brain around. I think the Infinity trigger is the smoothest and most responsive, and it just seems to be positioned in the exact location my finger wants it to be. But that's just like my opinion, man. So if you've got buddies with airbrushes, ask if you can just hold them for a second, and you may be surprised to find that one feels better than the other. Disassembling an airbrush is a major hassle, so it needs to be engineered smartly. I haven't found any airbrushes easier to take apart and put together than Harder & Steenbeck's. The Iwatas I've used have been fairly straightforward too, but I always felt like a big clumsy gorilla trying to maneuver the little fiddly bits on my Badgers. So again, ask your friends for their honest opinion, or better yet, ask for an assembly demonstration. Finally, find out which parts are available locally. Unfortunately, it takes me 3 or 4 days to get Harder & Steenbeck parts through the mail. On the other hand, Michaels and Hobby Lobby sell replacement parts for Badger and Iwata. But in the end, the Infinity was the best choice for me. I trust the Harder and Steenbeck respected quality control, it's a comfortable fit in my hand, it's super easy to take apart, and various needle options make it versatile as well. It is curious, however, that it so happens that the Phoenix, whose tail feather resides in my airbrush, gave another feather. Just one other. It is curious that I should be destined for this airbrush when its brother painted this Space Marine.
If I went too fast or if the techniques were too advanced, please feel free to leave a comment below and let me know.
The painter who must not be named did horrible things. Terrible, yes, but horrible. Khador armor is obviously very warm, so I introduced cool tones into the silvers to balance the palette. Adding inks to your metallics is a quick and easy way to add visual interest without spending a long time glazing colors on top. That would likely give a better result, but this method adds a lot to gaming pieces like this one with a minimal time investment. And speaking of time, you may notice that I painted several pieces off camera. That's because I was rushing to finish this in order to meet a deadline, because this model was donated to the Battle for Hope. Battle for Hope is a 3-day wargaming charity event that raises funds for Autism Speaks and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I actually filmed this last December for their 2014 tournament, so they're probably going to be posting details for their 2015 event pretty soon, and I'm going to include a link to their Facebook page in the description. So, I think I'm gonna go see Ant-Man once this finishes rendering. I finish him off with some Minotaur plasma fluid over a white base, and then he's just about done. Like I said, I did a lot of work off camera, but the base was done using the same techniques I've demonstrated on many previous videos. I started with plumber's putty, added a handful of bits, and finished it off with dry pigments adhered with watered down matte medium. So that's it for this one. Let me say, it was a relief to paint something other than a Terminator for a change, and I hope you enjoyed watching just as much as I did painting. So be good to each other, and thanks for watching.